When someone asks me what the best exercise is, I sometimes say the one you'll actually do. And I'm a physical therapist and I love to give people specialized exercises. It might sound like a joke, but it's true. The best exercise is often the one you'll repeat often enough to keep getting stronger. Are you ready to get back to what you love after knee replacement? The Total Knee Success Podcast is your trusted guide with practical tips, evidence-based strategies, and no fluff. It's not personal medical advice, just solid education to help you manage pain, regain mobility, and get back to living the life you love. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Total Knee Success Podcast. I'm Michelle, physical therapist and educator, sharing what life looks like after total knee replacement and how to keep making progress once your formal therapy ends. This podcast is educational, not treatment. Think of it as practical insight you can use to understand your journey, not personal medical advice. At the end of this episode, you will understand why consistent exercise and activity are the best predictors of long-term success after knee replacement, how to keep your strength gains going after formal therapy ends, and how to trust your knee and your brain for the long run. Because knowing your knee is strong is one thing. Believing it's ready for real life again, that's what gets you moving toward your next chapter with confidence. When you graduate from outpatient or home health physical therapy, the structure and accountability disappear overnight. 1 week you're in the clinic twice a week, or you have a therapist coming to the house, and the next, it's just you, your knee, and a list of exercises you may or may not feel confident doing. That moment can feel liberating or lonely, sometimes both. Confidence influences how your brain recruits muscles and organizes movements. Psychologists call it self-efficacy, the belief that you can do what you intend to do. People who believe they can use their new knee tend to walk farther, have less pain, and report better quality of life. A 2025 review by Gemma Orange's research team found that even after surgery, about 1 in 4 people still struggled with walking, balance, or stairs. The surgery succeeded, but their brain was still unsure. Months of be careful instructions, memories of pain, or other health conditions can all feed hesitation. Fear of movement, called kinesiophobia, shows up in as many as 30% of people after knee replacement. But a little stiffness or swelling does not mean damage. It's your knee's way of saying it needs moderate, consistent motion. Research shows that when patients stop exercising abruptly after therapy, their functional scores start to slide within 3 months. So confidence is not about ignoring caution, it's about understanding how to work safely on your own. Sometimes fear sneaks in even when your knee is doing fine. Many people catastrophize, imagining the worst possible outcome from a twinge or an ache. Thoughts like, it's swollen, something must be wrong, or I'll never walk right again. That fear creates tension and guarding, which ironically makes movement harder. Researchers studying cognitive behavioral therapy have shown you can retrain that reaction. When a negative thought hits, pause and check the evidence. Has this knee handled more than this before? What else could this feeling mean besides danger? Then take a small, safe action, a gentle bend or short walk. Each success rewires the brain to feel safer and makes you feel more confident. The stronger and steadier you feel, the more your nervous system stops treating movement like danger. In 2023, Jacob Kaplan and colleagues followed over 9,000 people after knee replacement and found that those who kept up strength sessions twice a week had faster walking speeds and less pain 1 year later. This is really important. This is a huge study. I'm going to repeat that sentence. Jacob Kaplan and colleagues, they followed over 9,000 people after knee replacement. Those who kept up strength sessions twice a week had faster walking speeds and less pain 1 year later. So not just function, not just improved function, which was determined by faster walking speeds, which is a great measure, and they also had less pain 1 year later. In 2022, Granicher and his research team reported that patients who continued structured exercise for at least 6 months after surgery had higher functional scores and less decline in mobility across the first year than those who stopped soon after discharge. The message is really clear. Long-term activity, it matters. Even simple moves, just staying consistent with doing your squats, your sits to stands, short walks, light resistance band work, and stationary bike sessions are great. All of these tell your brain the joint is safe. But here's the key. Your brain needs that message many, many times. 1 or 2 reps, that won't rewrite movement patterns. You need hundreds and even thousands of safe, successful repetitions. And that's not all in one day. Don't go doing that all in one day. That's going to make your knees swell up. These successful repetitions need to happen over weeks and months to truly rewire the safe-to-move message in your nervous system. That's why it's so important to keep doing these movements at home and to stay active after therapy ends. Repetition is what makes your body and brain believe the joint can handle real life again. Therapists often track progress with movement tests, such as the timed up and go, the Berg balance scale, the 2-minute or 6-minute walk test, the 5-time sit to stand, the 30-second chair stand. These measure how you move in daily life, how fast you stand, balance, or walk. Improving your scores predicts greater independence, less fear of falling, and better long-term function. The goal is to keep improving these numbers on your own after therapy ends, continuing to challenge your balance in a safe fashion, strengthening and improving endurance safely. And in a future episode, we'll talk more about what these tests mean and how you could even use them at home to track your progress. As motion improves, so does confidence. Every time you walk a little farther or manage stairs more smoothly, your brain updates its little safety file. Research from Denmark found that patients who paired education with consistent exercise had less pain and higher activity a year later than those who stopped after rehab. Can you sense a trend here? Your knee was designed for motion, and motion teaches your nervous system that it's safe. I've had many patients who finished therapy doing great, gave them a home exercise program, and they seemed ready to follow it. But once the therapy visits ended, they chose not to continue, and that's certainly okay because it's their knee. I'm not following them around at home, and they do make their own adult decisions. But sometimes those same folks have come back to therapy a few months later with stiffness, limited knee extension, or a noticeable drop in strength. And that's not failure of the knee replacement, it's simply physiology. Muscles are like savings accounts. If you stop depositing, the balance drops. Use it or lose it. And that's not a warning, it's just how the body works. And that's why consistency is the best predictor of long-term success. Research across decades agrees. People who keep moving, even at a lower intensity, they maintain strength, mobility, and independence for years after knee replacement. And you don't need a gym membership or hour-long workouts to stay strong. The type of activity matters less than the habit of the activity. Here are examples that research supports for long-term success. Walking daily, moderate and adaptable to any fitness level. Cycling, stationary or outdoor, great for joint mobility. Aquatic exercise, ideal for comfort and endurance with less load. Resistance training, using bands, machines, or body weight. Tai Chi, proven to improve balance, coordination, and self-efficacy. And chair yoga, supporting flexibility, breathing, and gentle strength. Group-based programs make it easier to stick with these routines. Studies show people in organized classes like community strength training, aquatic groups, or Tai Chi continue exercising up to twice as long as those who go it alone. That social connection really builds accountability and makes the movement and the activity more enjoyable. When someone asks me what the best exercise is, I sometimes say the one you'll actually do, and I'm a physical therapist and I love to give people specialized exercises. It might sound like a joke, but it's true. The best exercise is often the one you'll repeat often enough to keep getting stronger. If you use wearable tech, a step counter, smartwatch, or an app on your smartphone, these tools can help track consistency and motivate you to stay on pace. I'll do a full episode soon about how to use wearables safely after knee replacement. But what about more advanced activities? Things like running, pickleball, tennis, downhill skiing, or hiking steep terrain? What about rebounding, kickboxing, or dance-based workouts? These are great questions because many people want to return to these things that they loved before surgery or before their knee started hurting. The good news is that moderate impact and controlled movement sports like doubles tennis, hiking, golf, dancing, and swimming are generally considered safe after full healing, as long as your strength and balance support them. Higher impact or pivot-heavy sports like singles tennis, basketball, running, or kickboxing carry greater risk of joint stress and implant wear, and research typically advises against them after total knee replacement. Though I know many people who have gone back to several of these activities, and I know someone in particular who went back to playing pickleball quite quickly after a partial knee replacement. Downhill skiing is a gray area. Some surgeons clear confident, skilled skiers with strong quads and good control, while others discourage it altogether. And really the key takeaway is this: before jumping into advanced activity, have a direct conversation with your surgeon and therapist about your goals. And your so-called clearance depends on your knee type, your bone quality, alignment, and really your overall conditioning. When you understand your knee and train smart, you can usually return to the movement you enjoy, safely and on your own terms. Before you finish formal PT, don't skip that last visit. Use it to ask your therapist how to progress your home exercise program, which movements to advance, and any personal tricks they've noticed that help you most. It's also worth mentioning during your second to last visit that you'd like an updated, maybe written program for long-term use. That gives your therapist a moment to prepare a more comprehensive version if they haven't already planned one, which is common practice for most clinics. That final appointment, it's not a formality, it's your handoff plan for staying strong on your own. Long-term programs that work well often include community classes, pool sessions, Tai Chi, and walking clubs. The common themes are connection and consistency. Doing something enjoyable often enough to stay engaged. Physical strength builds psychological security, and in turn, psychological security boosts physical strength. When your brain trusts your knee, you move more naturally. When you move well, your brain trusts your knee even more. It's a feedback loop that's definitely worth reinforcing. I'm also working on a book about this exact stage after physical therapy, how to move from rehab to real life with confidence and clarity. Check out totalkneesuccess.com for updates and early access. When therapy ends, your next phase of your training begins. You've built the foundation. Now it's about using it every day in ways that keep you strong and steady. Keep practicing the basics, listen to your body, and remind yourself that progress comes from consistency, not perfection. You're already capable. Now it's just about staying the course. In our next episode, we'll talk about knee stiffness, what's normal, what's not, and how to safely get that bend back. Thanks for listening. I'm Michelle, and this is the Total Knee Success Podcast, helping you move well, be informed, and trust your total knee for the long run, both figuratively and maybe literally. This podcast is for educational purposes only. Discover more at totalkneesuccess.com and be sure to subscribe and share because every step forward takes you closer to living the life you love.